Hi, Neil from Bogong here, and I'm here to speak to you today about Exped walking poles. I have with me two models, the Explorer pole and the Alpine pole. I'll talk to you about the Explorer pole first. That's this gold pole. It comes in two variations. There's an Explorer SA, which stands for the shock absorbing pole, which is what I have here, and that has a little shock absorber in the end so that when you press on it, it just absorbs the shock as you walk along. So you can get that version or the non-shock absorbing version. These Exped poles, some of the features that we've got on the Exped poles, they are collapsible, of course. The lower sections just run on a sliding scale, and then it's got a couple of little buttons that pop out. Very positive lock on there. It's got this series of dots along the poles, so you just align the poles with the hole and then you know where you have to slide the pole to. So the bottom sections are a fixed length, then the top part of the pole is a traditional twist adjustable, and you can move it up and down and set the length. When you've got them locked up like that, it's a very positive lock. You can put a lot of pressure on it, doesn't slip. Excellent mechanism inside the pole. That's one of the big variations on poles. On the tip, you've got a tungsten carbide tip, very hard wearing material. This pole here that I'm using is 4 years old and the tip is still in really good condition. Tungsten carbide tips grip better on the rock, much better than a steel tip. Whatever you do, don't get a steel tip pole. It's very rocky terrain. Sometimes you're better to take the basket off altogether, because this can sort of catch on the rocks, or in Australia in the bush, whatever. The basket's quite simple to get off. You can just twist it and take it off. It's as simple as that. So one of the best things about these Exped poles is all the mechanism is internal. You've got these positive button locks here and the twist lock in here, so you have a very clean pole. That's good for packing when you've got it on the rucksack, but also when you're using it particularly in the Australian bush, nothing to catch on to all the bushes and everything. Some of the poles that are around have an external clamping mechanism, and I think this is a better way to go with a nice clean interface on the outside of the pole. The handle of the pole, it's got a foam grip, very comfortable foam grip on there. The correct way to have it is to put your hand up through the bottom and to drop it down on the wrist so that the weight is taken on the wrist as you walk along. It's very easy to adjust. You just lift it up and you pull the bottom there and make it bigger, and then you just pull that back in till you've got the right sort of tension on the pole. You may notice the foam section comes right down. If you're traversing across the slope, your uphill hand wants a shorter pole, so instead of adjusting the pole, you can just hang on to the foam grip on the uphill side just like that. So very easy to have a quick adjustment of the pole for a short section. Correct pole length for normal terrain is about almost up to your elbow. For going downhill, you normally have the pole longer. Uphill, you would have the pole a bit shorter. So that's the Exped Explorer pole. With me here I have the Alpine pole. The difference between these two poles is in the number of sections. Here we've got 1, 2, 3 sections. Here we've got 4 sections. So why would you have that difference? And the main reason is for when you want to pack it up, carry it on the rucksack, or probably more importantly, put it in your luggage. You get a very, very short pole length there. If I pack this one up, you will see it's a little bit longer. So why would you buy the Alpine pole? And the reason you would buy the Alpine pole is the maximum length on there is 140 centimeters. So if you're a taller person, that will be good. This one only goes out to 130 centimeters there. Now you may notice that when I pulled that out, the pole came right apart. That is not a problem. How do you look after your poles? When you get home, particularly if they've been wet, you should pull them apart, all of the sections, because the inside of the pole can be wet and then you get corrosion in the pole. Now, as I said, I've had this pole for 4 years. I've been a naughty boy, and you will see on this pole there's evidence of corrosion here. Now that's where I've put it into storage, set there on that length, and you've got some corrosion on the pole. So that's the Exped Alpine pole and the Exped Explorer poles. If you're walking in this sort of country, I'm talking to you from the wonderful Zillertal Alps in Austria. Everybody here uses poles, and that's because the terrain is so steep. But they are poles, more and more people are using them in Australia. Ideal for steeper terrain if you're going down a long steep spur. In our part of the world, in Victoria, Howard Spur, Staircase Spur on Mount Bogong, particularly going downhill, excellent for the balance and for the knees. So get a pair of poles, try them out, and happy hiking.